Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mocktail Minutes. This is Bailey.
And I'm Brianna.
Every episode, we're doing a fun mocktail. So today I have a probiotic seltzer. It's one of the only ones I found that I actually like. So that's a plus. It's called Humm, Humm, and this is the raspberry lime flavor. Oh, you can kind of see it.
Oh, I was going to say that sounds familiar, but it doesn't look familiar. So
it's really good. Highly recommend.
Awesome. And then I'm boring. I'm still drinking my Rayvi that I had last episode, but it's my favorite right now and it's super summer-like. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Today, we finally have our special guest that we've been talking about. So her name is Lyndsey. Lyndsey, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Lyndsey Chambers. I'm a mindset and life coach. I'm a mom of 3, and I've been in the women's health and wellness since I was 18. So a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And you did some personal training before too.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
So before my online business that I have now, I had my own wellness centers and I was a personal trainer, yoga instructor. We had massage, physical therapy. So I worked with everybody in this center with the physical therapist. But yeah, I was a personal trainer and yoga instructor for many years, which is fun. And that's how I really transitioned into what I do now, is because women would get in great shape and they would still be in the same place, like mentally and emotionally, as they were before, or they would never make any changes. And I really started realizing the common denominator was always their mindset. And this was so many years ago. And so with those clients, I just started working on what is different with my mindset versus their mindset. And then I started educating myself and taking workshops and just kind of like became obsessed with, why are they not making lasting changes, or why are they not healing? From a healing perspective, our bodies really hold on to and reflect what's happening mentally and emotionally. And so that's where we are now after I had a couple kids, closed my wellness center, had my online business, and it's been going ever since.
Yes, it's so amazing. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, you just need Lyndsey. Like Lyndsey solves all your problems or helps you solve all your problems, because you really do help get that mindset piece just narrowed down. And I think we've talked about it. We had a whole episode on mindset and we did talk about it, but it's something that I feel like we kind of just graze over because people hear mindset and they're like, no, that's boring.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. So I really think it's almost becoming more popular now. And we have people like you who are really helping people get through that mindset piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and because mindset is so powerful. And that's why I always tell clients, I mean, Bailey and I, we work with clients who want to lose weight. They want to change how their body looks. And number one, straight at the gate, I always tell them, what's your why? It's not going to be losing weight, because it goes so much deeper than that. And a lot of it is your mindset. If you're still stuck on the scale or a certain, I don't know, thoughts about yourself, no matter what size you get to, you're still going to feel like that same person on the inside, no matter what your outside looks like.
No matter what.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I'm super excited for today.
Good. Yes. Yep. And I think this is a fun topic. I mean, fun for me to be on your podcast because I worked with people for losing weight for so many years that it was like, it's the same from a different angle. And so I think that makes it really fun too, because it is all mindset. And I think mindset is almost like that you don't actually know what they don't actually know what we're talking about when we say we have to work on your mindset. And they think like, oh, well, nothing's wrong with my mindset. And it's almost like this until you jump in, you don't understand how simple some of the things can be, and you don't understand how much you're getting in your own way, which I think we're going to talk about.
Yes, absolutely. And like the impact that working on your mindset has, like it'll change the whole trajectory of your life, to be quite honest. So I guess going into our first question, how would you say, like, how can starting with your mindset help to create the body we want? Because today I think we kind of wanted to focus on summer body talk around that. I mean, it's June now, so I feel like women especially have a lot of pressure to have that perfect summer body.
It's like something they work towards. It's like starting in January. It's like summer's, 6 months away.
Yeah. It's like, we don't actually have to get and see our naked bodies until June, which is so weird because you should be thinking about your body all of the time in terms of like, how can it function the best and how can it feel its best? So you want me to talk about summer mindset around your summer body?
Yeah. Okay.
I think that it really, I mean, there's so many, it's so layered, right? It's not
Yes.
just, oh, how's my mindset around my summer body? I think from the very like zoomed out perspective, and I'm always telling my clients this, and they are always like, I can't believe you're telling me this. Get clothes and get a bathing suit that makes you feel good with the body that you have right now.
Mhm.
As someone with an infant who is not the weight that I normally am ever, I'm like, I'm just ordering new shorts that fit and feel good. And I'm ordering new bathing suits. So at least when the time comes when you have to go to the beach or to the event, you feel as good as you possibly can in the skin that you're in.
Yeah.
And that's important, number one, just to feel good. Like, why are we torturing ourselves wearing pants when it's 90 degrees out? Just like get a skirt, get a dress, get some shorts. But it's also making you feel good now is going to help you continue to focus on feeling good. We get so stuck in focusing on feeling, I don't feel good in my body. I'm uncomfortable. I'm not the weight I want to be. I don't look the way I want to be. And that negative feeling is what we keep creating.
Mhm.
And so if we actually physically feel good in our clothes and we feel good about ourselves, just from the basic perspective of like, when I have to step out on the beach, you will start to feel good all the time. I remember I had a client once and she was going to like a big family event with her boyfriend and like all of his extended family. And she was so worried because she, number one, wasn't a comfortable weight for herself. Number two was like, I'm gonna be with a bunch of people. So I literally was like, okay, this is not what you were expecting, but we need to like get a whole new, like a whole outfit selection. So you felt really empowered. And she messaged me on her trip and she said, thank you so much for forcing me to do that because I feel so much more confident not having to stress out about, does this look good? I feel fat in this outfit. I don't feel comfortable. She's like, every single thing I brought, I feel very comfortable in. And that allowed her to be free. She was able to play more. She was able to connect more. And that feeling that you're holding changes your mindset. It changes your energy and it's going to keep promoting you wanting to feel good.
Mhm. Yes. And I feel like that's something we also don't realize how much of an impact it has. It's just how we show up every day, even like what we're wearing as, I don't know, maybe some people may feel like it's materialistic to kind of think in that way, but I really don't think it does because sometimes I feel like we tend to wear certain clothes to kind of hide our bodies. So then we're going to hide a lot more things than just hide our
Mhm,
body. We're going to feel more uncomfortable almost.
mhm.
People have like their goal shorts, right? It's like, these are the shorts I want to fit into. And like, these are my goal. And so they have it in their mind that if they buy new clothes, it's like, they're not working as hard as
They're
they need to.
failing.
Yeah, they're failing. And so it's just like, I'm just going to keep trying to get these on until they actually fit. And then you just, I mean, you're physically uncomfortable. So of course it's going to make you just, you're thinking about it all the time. You're like, wow, these are digging into every part of my body. It's going to be constantly on your mind.
Mhm. And as someone who's had 3 kids, and I always get back to my like baby weight, still things don't fit the same. And still, like, you don't really want the jeans or the shorts from 10 years ago. Like, they're not really in style.
No.
Your body changes, even if your weight and your body composition always gets back to the same. The
You just
shape of
look
your
different.
body
Yeah.
is just different, and your needs and your function change. So, yeah, I think being comfortable is a big deal. So being comfortable, feeling good about yourself is going to really help you. I know people say like talk about your why. And I mean, yes, but I think it's deeper than that. If you attached the feeling that you wanted to have with your why, like, oh, my why, of course I want to lose weight. Why? Well, it's healthy or I'll feel better or whatever. But how does that actually feel to stand naked in front of the mirror and kind of like how your body looks? Like, how would that actually feel in your body? How would it feel to be able to run and play with your children or go on a trip and feel confident? And I think you have to really, again, like bringing that feeling. So there's the feeling of actual, like, what are we wearing and how does this feel? But also thinking about, how am I going to have a summer body? Well, what is my why? And it should be a lot longer than one summer. I
Mhm.
want to have a summer body for the rest of my life. I want to feel like if someone calls me tomorrow and is like, hey, I've got 2 tickets to, I don't know, Bali, you want to go spend 2 weeks on the beach, like you should be ready because you take care of your body.
I love you bring up the feeling part of things too, because yeah, it does go much deeper than the why. And I think that's an important piece because we look in the mirror all the time. And so often I feel like our first initial thought is just negative. Like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. We need to switch that what can we love about ourselves? What can we love? Even if it's just like, I really like my eyelashes today. Like, it doesn't have to be something major.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Find something positive. Well, and I think that the feeling, like attaching a feeling to the why, helps you kind of visualize it a little bit more. And that kind of comes into like our next question, which is, what does visualizing your summer body really mean? And obviously it goes deeper than the looks. Like, what does visualizing your body really mean?
Yes. So I think it is having that vision of like, what would your body look like? But let's say someone's never had a body that they can't even envision. They're just envisioning other people's bodies.
Mhm.
We're just comparing like, oh, okay, I'm 5'3". I'm never going to have Carrie Underwood's legs. Like,
Yeah.
not
Same.
happening. My legs are muscular. They are short, right? So instead of envisioning other people's bodies, or if we can't envision what our body would look like, what they're really thinking and when they want a summer body is they want to feel good enough to like wear the shorts or wear the tank top or whatever that is. And so holding the vision for it, and you guys might do things differently with your clients. So share if you do things differently, but I really would walk them through, and I walk my clients through like, what does a day in the life feel like in this body?
Yes.
How would having, I mean, it's like, let's just take the body out of it. Let's just pretend we all just washed our hair. We act very differently on a clean hair day than when it's been day 4.
So
We show up very differently. We are greasy hair, baseball cap. We're kind of like, F it. It's just like, I don't have time to wash my hair. On a clean hair day, all of a sudden, like makeup gets done, hair gets done. Like you're like, yeah,
put on a
right?
cute outfit. Like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You feel better. So we can all envision like a clean hair day. We might not all be able to envision summer body, but that feeling that comes with it. So I think when women are thinking, and men, like, I want this summer body, it's that they're really wanting confidence. They're wanting to embody their higher self, or this like better version of themselves. That's why there's people who are all different shapes and sizes who totally embody it and they don't even care because they just love themselves. So I think from a visual perspective, you have to really think again, like the feeling, what is this feeling that I'm seeing or going after, and holding that. And then also for the vision, I always think you can't just like, I'm going to have this amazing summer body and confidence. You have to attach all of the action items. So if you're actually doing a visualization, like I love to have my clients do recorded visualizations, I love them to write down their visualization and read it every day. And they act as if like it is August 17th and I have been comfortably in my body all summer long. Great. How does that feel? Oh my gosh, I feel good enough. I'm proud of myself, whatever it is. And then what are the actionable items that you did to get there? So there's also this disconnect. It's like, here's the fantasy and here's the reality. And if you're actually using visualization techniques, I love to attach like the actionable items. So we have the feeling, we have the far off, like the destination, but you have to affirm the behavior, because the behavior is what is going to get you to where you want to be. Wishing it all day long is not going to do anything, but the behavior builds one on top of the other. And you can even affirm, because I've been doing X, that helped me have more energy to start moving my body more, which helped me do, it builds on itself. And so affirming those behaviors, or even I will help my clients figure out what are those behaviors we need to affirm. So then we're not just focusing on like August 17th in my body, we're focusing on June and what are we going to do about it right now?
I
Yes,
love your visualizations. I'm gonna be honest, we did it as coaches. And I was like, okay, like this, whatever. I did it. I was like, I'm just gonna go all in. And it was like life changing. Like I came out of it. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, this is
No one thinks it's going to be great. But here's the thing, we're visualizing all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
We're
are
constantly talking to ourselves.
Yeah. And we're constantly going, okay, I'm going camping next weekend. So we'll use that for an example. I'm going camping. We're paddleboarding. We're with another family. Like her body looks amazing. I don't feel amazing in my body. Like That's visualizing. Now
Mhm.
I'm visualizing myself feeling a little chubby and not great about myself in my bathing suit that doesn't fit. I'm
Mhm.
already visualizing. So you might as well use your visualizations for good and to help you get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it helps you feel how you want to feel too. So it's like when you're affirming, I'm working towards this body, or like, this is my body, this is how I feel in it. When you finally arrive to it, you actually believe it instead of, like there's that full connection. Cause sometimes people get to where they think they want to be and they're just still like, this isn't it. It's like they're never happy with it.
Yep. I mean, you can do all the work on your physical body, but if you don't work on your mindset, you'll just have something else to pick apart.
And it can be super challenging too, because sometimes when we think about what we want our life to look like, how we want to feel and everything, it seems scary because for some people, it's like, we have never felt this way. How
Mhm.
am I actually supposed to get to this point? Like sometimes it just feels too unrealistic for people where it's like, I can't even envision this, even though it's what I want. I feel like if I write it down, it's just like a fairy tale almost.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
So kind of going into talking about more of going to the summer months and everything, I wanted to bring up, you had a really popular reel go viral a couple months ago about being busy and overwhelmed. And I love that reel. And I think it goes really well with going into these summer months with how we're doing every day. What does this busy life look like? What does this overwhelmed look like? So do you want to talk about that and also giving tips on how we can prioritize ourselves right now?
Yes, sure. So I think that that reel is talking about how we are addicted to busy and we use busy as our excuse or we identify with busy. I think as women, we are supposed to be busy. It's
Yeah.
like if you ever ask someone, "Hey Bailey, how are you doing?" You're not going to say, "Oh, great, I'm so calm and I'm so happy and my relationship is wonderful and everything's just great." Somehow we were conditioned to complain,
Mhm.
and we were conditioned that if we're not busy, we're not doing enough, and we get addicted to this busyness, or this like, I have so much to do, or I'm so stressed out. And I mean, it seems kind of crazy to think about it because we're the ones in control of our schedule.
Yeah.
And yet most people are complaining about being busy, but they're actually doing nothing to change being busy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So then
it's like
they
a
either
normal state. You just are.
Yeah, they just are. And so, but it's like, well, if you're going to complain about it, you have all the power to change it. But most of them don't even know that they're complaining about it, or that they're like stuck in this really busy cycle. So as we go into summer and you think about, "Oh, I'm so busy." Like, you're always going to be busy. Every season's going to be busy. Life is never going to calm down. I love when people are like, "Oh yeah, I'll do this when." I'm like, "When what?" Like,
What's
That's my
actually
top
going to
never.
change?
trait.
Never. Going on one vacation a year is not going to change the fact that you are conditioned, and I like saying addicted to your busyness, because a lot of people don't know how else to be if they don't feel super busy. And it's ironic because a lot of people who are really busy, it totally triggers their nervous system and then they go into freeze mode and then they're not even doing anything about their busyness.
It's literally me. Like I've always been addicted to being busy. And like I'm always just a busy bee. Like it has been a part of my personality. And I'm like, it's wrecking me. My nervous system regulation has not been well. We're working on it.
Yeah, it's a thing. And like dietitians, you have a high threshold for stress and busy, or you wouldn't be dietitians. Like, I've worked with enough dietitians now. I know that you are a type of fabulous human being, but you can function under extreme pressure. And so it's learning, like, how do I take a few steps back and do a few things less? Or when people like thinking about summer, to me, summer is full, and my family is like, go, go, go. But that's a choice because we want to embrace like every day and we want to
Mhm.
go hard. And so if you're looking at summer and you're thinking, "Oh, I'm so busy," do you have to be?
Yeah.
Can
Are
you
you
let
busy
go
with
of
things?
things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can you let go of things? Or if you're so busy, is this a choice? Like for me and my family, I know that summer we just go hard. So I prepare myself for that in many different areas. I adjust my expectations on other things. I like totally change like how we're eating. I change all of our routines to support the fact that we want to play a lot. But this idea of like, I'm so busy and it's chaotic and it's crazy, it's a belief that you're choosing. And you can be more productive if you choose a different belief.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's a good point with making adjustments to your expectations, to your routine. Because I feel like sometimes we are like, we have to do the same thing every week. I'm like, no, you can change what you're doing. You can have the same meal for dinner every week. That's completely fine. So I think it's a good point to bring up just making adjustments as you need to, if you know it's going to look a little different. Same thing with like vacations, whatever it is.
Especially with women, it's like we take on this, like you said, like we take this on feeling like we need to do all of it. We need to do the kids, we need to do this, all the schedules, all the things. And we also want to add in all these extra things during the summer. Like we want to make the memories and go on the trips, but then we're also like, our house needs to look a certain way. We need to be eating a certain way. I need to work this much. I need to, my kids need to be doing all this stuff. And it's like, it almost like we're creating an unenjoyable life when all we want to do is create like memories.
100%.
And instead it's like everyone's pissed off on the way to family vacation because it's like we're all
100%. You're creating an unenjoyable life. That's so true. Yeah, I think adjusting expectations. I mean, I do this every single week in my life. I sit down on Sunday, I open up my calendar, I open my husband's calendar. We look at what has to happen. And then we start looking at like, how do we want to feel? How did last week go? What do we need to adjust? In the summer, I completely let go of having a clean house because we're just like, we hike, we come home, we have lunch, we grab the beach bag, we go to the lake all day, right? So it's like, yeah, well, we'll have a cleanish house, but we're not even in it. So let's go have some fun. I eat totally differently. Like we prepare for our kids totally differently. So I have all of the snacks ready to go. So I know that it's there and they're not just going to be eating some takeout, but it's not like we don't have to sit down and have this meal.
Yeah.
Right. Or this idea like, oh, I'm so busy, I can't take care of myself. From the woman who's in control of what everyone is eating. I find that very interesting. Like, I don't have time, but I just made everyone else's food. Okay. So that's a mindset shift. Is that true? No, that's absolutely not true. If you're packing lunch for everyone, you can just as easily pack a balanced lunch for yourself instead of saying, I don't have time or I'm not able to do this. Yeah.
That's so common.
I know what your people are saying.
Yeah.
They used to be my people.
It's so common. Like, I can't do this, but you're already doing all this stuff. You're already doing it. But it's like, yeah. And that's where mindset comes in.
That's where the mindset is huge. And noticing that they're actually doing it, right? So for anyone who's listening to this, start looking at the things you're saying all day long or the beliefs that you're holding, like the real, like, I'm so busy. Are you? Is that true? Can you let go of that belief? Do you have time? Like if you're making everyone else's, okay, to be totally honest, I didn't have breakfast yet. I made my kids breakfast that they wanted because they love my crepes and my crepes are like the bomb. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna eat like half of their crepes. I put like Greek yogurt on it, but I'm starving. But I can't say like, oh, I don't have time to eat. No, that was my choice. Normally I would make something that I could eat and get like, we're all gonna eat the same amount of protein and the same amount of vegetables and the same amount of whatever. And you can choose that. So to me, when we're looking at, I don't have time to feed myself, I did not say that this morning. I was like, well, we're not going to eat until after we do this podcast because it's not my priority.
And it's like, it's like choosing to not prioritize yourself. I mean, because I feel like a lot of women, especially, they're like, I have to take care of XYZ, right? Like you have to take care of your kids. And it's almost like, I don't take care of myself anymore because I have to take care of other people. It's like, you need to choose to take care of yourself.
And if they just added choose, like if they said, I'm choosing not to take care of myself, that it's alone versus I can't take care of myself. The words are so different, right? Like I can't do this versus I'm choosing not to.
It's like a whole shift.
So disempowering. And one is either so empowering or like a real come to Jesus, like, oh, I'm going to choose to not take care of myself so I can take care of my kids. If we're trying to raise our children to be adults, then our behavior really matters because they're going to end up mimicking it.
Right.
And I think this is a big shift I see a lot when I'm working with women around their bodies or anything else. We just do what we were taught, even if it was like unconsciously taught. Like if our mom never prioritized herself, then we don't prioritize ourselves. If our mom was always dieting, we're always dieting. If our mom was always complaining about her body, and not like we have to all go blame our moms. I'm sure we've all had enough therapy for that. But just to be able to see, okay, is this really my truth? Is this a story I want to hold on to anymore? Or do I want to break this story? Do I want to break this trend and be like, it's actually very easy to prioritize myself, adjust expectations. Here's the 3 ways I'm going to prioritize myself this summer. And then like
Choose to do it.
Choose to do it and choose to be the one in control of your life. I think by saying we're busy, it's like we're like giving away our power. We're not owning the fact that like I'm choosing to be busy.
And that was a big mindset shift for me. Like with being a business owner, I was like, if I'm not busy, that means I'm not doing enough to succeed. So I was like, I had to schedule everything from time I wake up till time to go to bed. Otherwise it wasn't enough. And I've realized a lot lately, that's not true at all. I do not need to say yes to every single thing. So it's been an adjustment. And I think that is a very hard piece to realize. Just because you're not doing something at every minute of the day doesn't mean you're incompetent. It's not anything to be guilty for if you're relaxing.
Doesn't mean you're not productive.
Isn't one reason you became a business owner was so that you could have more time?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like
my day with it.
Because that's just how we're taught.
Yeah. No, it is. And I was sitting down with my husband last night because, you know, he's newly works from home, right? And so he's juggling this whole like, oh, I can kind of work from home, but it's like the kids are home and all this stuff is happening. So I'm like, you know, you need a time block, you need to prioritize, you need to see like what could be done, what can't be realistic. I'm like giving him all this great advice. And then I sit there and I'm doing it myself. And I'm like, okay, so these days I'm going to do this, these days I'm going to do this. And he was like, well, where's your day off? Like, I thought you wanted to have 1 or 2 days that you didn't do anything. You just did things with the kids. I'm like, but I could be doing this. He's like, you're literally the worst. He's like, you're telling me all this great advice and then you're not doing it. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you're right. And like, this is the same thing I see with clients. Like, you're like, it's feeling like you need to take all this stuff on. Like you're almost a failure for not. So
it's like we are failures if we're not, depending on our personality type, we are failures, or it's just perpetuating the belief that we have around ourselves or our bodies or our motherhood or our businesses, and oftentimes we're not even aware of that belief that's like driving the behavior. To see that belief, and regardless of where, like, I don't even care where the belief comes from, but to see the belief. I mean, I remember being in college and like there was a moment where I'm like, I basically have to almost kill myself to make this work. And I did. But then we get stuck, right? So my degree was in kines. I was taking physics and running 3 businesses, 3 locations at the same time. And I stayed in that mode for a very long time of like, I have to keep killing myself to do anything. And that's when I realized, like, wait a minute, actually you don't have to work this hard and everything can still get done. Or I could fill up this time with taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And then figuring out how to stick with that and value that as much as we value the things that we get praised for.
Yes. It's going to be important to recognize the belief, recognize the situation, and then decide, well, what the heck are we going to do about it? And I feel like your Beyond the Body program, it does all of that, correct? Did you want to share about that?
It does do all of that. It's 12 weeks of really becoming honest with yourself and looking at all the different areas of like, where are my boundaries? Okay, boundaries is one topic. I could talk about that on Instagram and I will have like 0. It's like I hear crickets. Like there is nothing. No one wants to talk about boundaries, which I think is so funny because boundaries aren't always like the boundaries we need to put up. A lot of times they're boundaries we need to take down. And we've put these boundaries in, or you could also call them beliefs or self-sabotaging behaviors, but we put them in place to protect us. Like, oh, I can't have a body like that because, right? So that's a belief. It's a self-sabotaging behavior, but there's also this boundary that we've put up possibly that's going to block us from even listening to what Brianna says, because I'm just going to kind of daze right out because I've told myself I can't have that. The wall is up and it is thick. Versus like, could I remove this wall and could I live without this protection? Right? Because we need boundaries to protect us, whether it's for our energy, our time, but we also have boundaries that are no longer serving us, that have just stuck with us for a long time, and we need to let those go. I think we would see that a lot with women that we both work with, of like, this is not serving you. So yeah, in Beyond the Body, every week is a different topic, and we cover so much: expectations, boundaries, limiting beliefs, manifesting. I have a whole week all about creating your body and being in a space where you feel great about your body. And it's a small group container, and it's really focused on personal growth and mindset.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's so amazing. Beyond the Body is definitely on my to-do list for this year.
Oh,
so
good.
I will be joining at some point.
Good.
Yeah. I know if you're listening and you're like, oh wow, that sounds amazing, but I don't know if it could be worth it. Like, I've only worked with Lyndsey in small little sessions, group sessions, like whatever. And I could say that every time that I've either watched or listened, I've come out of it like, okay, wow. Like the whole, I mean, you did one not too long back in M3 about how long does it take from the time you wake up till the time you like start feeling tension in your body. And now every time that I do that, I'm like, I need to not like,
I made it to 4.
I'm like, dang it, Lyndsey. Like, oh, she's so right. It's just like this, I don't know. It's almost like sometimes people just need to be validated. And I think you do a really good job of being like, hey, these feelings are validated. You feel this way. You think these things, like, this is your truth. This is how we get to a new truth. It's
I feel like every time I talk to you too, it's almost like you have a little bit of an oh shit kind of moment. Like, oh yeah, that's me. And you don't realize it.
Yeah. And I think what you said about like validating people, I really believe that we all think we're the only ones.
Yeah.
We're the only ones who have trauma. We're the only ones who have abuse. We're the only ones who don't like our bodies. We're the only ones. And if we all walked around with shirts on that said all of our crazy, we'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so normal.
Yeah.
And so to have Beyond the Body is a space where you realize like, oh my gosh, these women might be more successful than me, or they might have lives that I would love to have, and they still have the same feelings that I have. And that's okay. No judgment. We can just change those patterns. And I think that's really so empowering. You guys asked me to tell you 2 or 3 things that we do on a daily basis for our mindset.
Yes.
I don't want to let this one go.
Okay. Yes. Let's hear
Number 1 is what I call my daily 3, or it used to be 3 for me. Right. And so there's Back to Me, which is a little mini course that you can listen to. But I think the essence of that training is what brings you completely selfish joy, and can you do a couple of those things a day? And it can be very small, like 30 seconds, 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be like going on vacation. It's learning how to create more joy in the life that you have right now. Because if you want more joy, whatever that is, right? So even if it's like, if we're talking about bodies, what makes you feel really good about your body that you could do in less than 5 minutes? Mine is like, I have this face wash and it smells so dang good. And so I'm in the shower, and it's like, I get in the shower and I'm excited just because of the smell. So I'm just like, and I just like totally relax. And that is something that I do just for me. Like, I don't need to buy this face wash. I could get another face wash, but I just like it's like a whole 15-second spa ritual. And it makes me feel like I'm enjoying my skin. I'm enjoying my face. I'm enjoying this moment, right? So it can be really small little nuggets. The second one is keep your goals front and center. Or if you don't like the word goals, it could be keep your desires front and center, keep your dreams front and center. Sticky notes, pictures, set alarms on your cell phone. I will frequently have clients make their screensaver their goal. So every time they pick up their phone, they're seeing, like, let's say if it's like financial, if I'm working with them for like finances, right? Like they're seeing like, this is how much income I just made from this launch or from whatever. Keep your goal front and center. Have a weekly meeting with yourself. Make it non-negotiable. How are we doing, Lynn? Not good. Okay. What are we doing that's perpetuating the not good? How can we do something that's good? Right. And really having it can take 5 minutes. Look at your schedule last week. Okay. That worked. Let's keep doing that. Because what will happen as we're growing and changing is we adopt new habits, but we still hold the energy of, I am not capable of doing anything, or it's not good enough. And if you look back and you're like, wow, a month ago, I wasn't even eating breakfast. And now this month I've had breakfast almost every day. Hey, high five to me. And that's how you start to build a better mindset. But you have to look back and reflect. So I love to have a weekly meeting of like what went well and what are we going to do this week to pivot or support where we want to go. Obviously have a vision. We talked about that. Do either of you teach your clients visualizations?
Yes. I have them do it on like after our first session. They have to create a vision.
Do they like it?
It's scary.
Mhm.
That's what the feedback, like it's scary, but it feels really good at the same time.
Do they do it?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I think it's one of those things people are like, that's not for me.
Mhm.
So they don't, but it's so powerful if you do it. And I'm always like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah.
That's not for me, but you're visualizing all day long.
Yes. That's why I tell people about like self-talk. I mean, you might as well start, giving yourself like mantras or affirmations, because all day long you're telling yourself negative stuff already.
All the
And
time.
it's like our go-to, and we don't even realize we do it. It's just our second nature. So it's like, tell yourself something nice.
Just for everyone listening, if these ladies tell you to have a visualization, you have a visualization. There is loads of science. This isn't just like something woo-woo. I first learned visualizations in sports psychology in college. The first day he like took us through a guided visualization and I was hooked.
Mhm.
And there's so like athletes use guided imagery.
Mhm.
They do. And so because it works, and we're always technically using guided imagery because we're thinking of how we're going to fail all day long versus thinking, what if this went well? So have a vision, even if you resist it, just be like, okay, let me have a little micro mini vision.
Yeah.
That's where something, if they're not ready to like do a whole vision, maybe having their goal on the front of their phone, or if they're doing something for 3 months or 6 months, like it's been 6 months and this is how I feel, and like connecting them to their body. We're also so disconnected from our body, which is a whole nother podcast. And then the other thing was, what if it were easy?
That's like one of my favorite things you've ever told me.
We are just so deeply programmed that it's hard, that it's stressful, everything. What if it were easy? What if waking up and having breakfast were easy?
Yeah.
What if making time for myself was easy? Instantly, it's already like a shift in your whole body. Your whole body goes, oh yeah. Okay, because we've just been telling ourselves it's mission impossible our whole lives, or it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But what if it weren't hard?
It just changes the whole, like, I don't even know the word for it.
You're just like
The energy.
Yeah, it really is. It's like the same with like, I can't take care of myself. I'm choosing not to take care of myself. It's like that whole shift, like, oh, I don't know. It's just like an epiphany. Like, what if it was easy? What if it was easy to get into a routine that you really enjoyed and your world didn't fall apart?
Yeah. Oh, then I would just do this one thing. Okay, so let's just do that one thing. And then tell yourself, for 3 months, I've been doing this one thing and my life has totally changed. And now I'm happier and I'm calmer and I'm more relaxed. And oh, I've also lost weight and I have more energy and I like my husband. Imagine that.
Yeah.
crazy.
Just from one thing. Whereas sometimes it's that easy to just look at, like, if this were easy, what else would start to kind of unravel?
Yes. And yeah, just starting with the one thing, you don't have to overhaul your entire life in a month, in 3 months. You can just focus on the one
year.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Give yourself that permission to do that one thing. You're allowed to do it.
Be easy. It's just
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Even when it's not easy, even when it is hard. Personal growth is challenging, but not doing it is also challenging.
That's so true.
Those are really good
It's
tips. I really like them. And the doing 3 things a day that you enjoy, it's actually kind of harder than you think.
It makes
sometimes.
you think,
You're
like, what are 3 things I enjoy?
Have either of you done the Back to Me challenge?
I have not yet.
Okay, it's the same as 3 for me. There's just some new trainings in there. I ask you to make a list of everything that brings you joy that doesn't involve anybody else.
And that's what's hard.
And it is so hard. And I first did this when my youngest was 6 months old. And I felt like I was just totally lost. I'd also just closed my wellness center. So I had like no community. I had nothing. And I was like, what do I even
Like,
What do I do?
yeah, who am I? And you know, the
Yeah.
sad reality for me was I was in my mid 30s, and the sad reality was like, I think from mid 20s to mid 30s, I just did for performance. I didn't do anything for fun.
Yeah.
I was just like grinding away. And to figure out like, oh yeah, that's actually enjoyable. Like taking my coffee outside is enjoyable.
Mhm.
My face wash is enjoyable. Like we don't even focus on the things that bring us joy, and really starting to think like the tiny things, like someone said a clean house brings them joy. And I'm like, hell yeah.
yeah, it does. I'm like, that is one thing for me. I
Sitting
think,
on that couch with the clean house,
Yeah.
it's like, oh.
No dishes in the sink. Oh,
Yeah. And so then like how much easier does it become to keep your house tidy when you realize this brings me joy?
mhm.
well, and then also not comparing what brings you joy to others. Cause I think people do that a lot. Like, oh, this isn't big enough. This isn't good enough. The whole self-care thing. Like, no, it's worry about yourself. Does it bring
Yes.
you joy?
Yes. Self-care is not my favorite word, not
Yeah.
my favorite topic, because we think it has to be like a facial and a massage and a vacation and all these big things outside of ourselves. But guess what? Newsflash, you'll still be miserable and not happy if you don't know how to like fulfill yourself when
Yeah.
you're falling asleep getting your nails.
Yeah. Getting my nails done, I don't enjoy it in the moment. I just enjoy it afterwards. I'm like, oh, my nails look nice this week.
Yeah. It's maintenance. I
Yeah.
put that under maintenance.
Mhm.
I love that.
Mhm.
Maintenance.
Well,
No.
those are really good tips. And I think it's really going to help so many people just get started with their mindset journey. Can you share where people can find you?
Sure. Yeah. LyndseyChambers.com. My name is spelled different than the other Lyndsey's.
Yes.
It's LYNDSEY. LyndseyChambers.com, or Instagram is at Lyndsey's Lifestyle.
Okay. Yes. We'll put all the information in the show notes too. And then we will also link Beyond the Body if you're interested. And if you have any questions about it, Lyndsey is the nicest person you will ever meet. So literally just send her a message.
Send me a message. I'll coach you all day long via message.
Yes.
Happy to support you. Thank you both for having me on the show. I love both of you. I love being a part of your communities, and I'm so happy that you gain from my teaching, and that makes me so like inspired to hear. And I'm just so grateful for the work that you do with the people that you serve.
Oh, thank you.
so
No,
much.
absolutely. We were so excited to have you. You're like one of our first people like, Lyndsey must be on Mocktail Minutes. Otherwise,
I will come back anytime.
Well, we
all
have
right.
Evelyn.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Have a
And
great day.
you too. We'll talk to everyone next
Bye.
week. Bye.